through life, just coasting through life with no real direction. And when we go through life without a real direction, we will begin to face circumstances, conditions, and we're really not going anywhere different because we didn't choose to go anywhere different. Coasting through life, conformity, will not give you any different results. All it'll do is give you more of the same. But whenever you're deciding and you're putting a goal, you're setting goals, you're setting targets, you're going somewhere new. And you're going to be faced with the unknown. And this is where you've got to really go beyond. And the only way to go beyond that unknown is to face your fears. Face whatever it is that you need to do. Go learn from whoever it is you need to learn from. Go pick up books, knowledge from people that you need to learn from to do what it is that you want to do. You don't really have a choice. You either stay stuck where you're at or you grow. And it's up to you. But look at the lives of the people that stayed stuck. And there's so many. There's so many to choose from. Look around. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but 97% of people are stuck. And if you go look at their lifestyle, you look at the way they live, you look at what they do, it's more or less mediocre lives. Yes, I'm not saying they cannot be happy, but it's more or less the same thing over and over again, day after day. And we weren't meant to be mediocre. We were meant to create. All of us were. And really, when you look at the lives of so many people, each and every one of them will tell you they wanted more. Each and every one of them will tell you they desired more. Each and every one of them will tell you that there's so much to life. But they missed it. And they missed it because they really didn't know that there was a subconscious underlining, a subconscious programming that was not allowing them to move any further. Majority of people don't know that there's a cybernetic mechanism that controls their behavior. And the minute anybody and everybody, the minute we try to go beyond what we know how to do, it stops us dead on our track. Our job is to specialize in an area and do things on purpose. And when we can specialize in an area and continue to master that area, we continue to develop ourselves. And developing yourself was the secret to life. How do we do that? Decide what it is that you really want. Decide what it is that you truly, truly want. When you can decide what it is that you truly want, you start to define what reality will look like. And very few people really master what they're going to do in life. They say if you were to work at mastering an area at least 18 to 20 minutes a day, and you do this the rest of your life, you'll be in the top 95%. So if you think about it, if you're giving value in that area and you really master that area and you practice every day at it, you will not be normal. And when you're not normal, you're way over the average, and you'll be compensated for it as well. So let's take that in consideration when you really start to define what it is that you want to have in life and how you want to build, what type of service you want to get. Really get really good at what you're doing. And when you get really good, you also get really good at providing services. When you get really good at providing services, you get really good at earning money. Money's just a byproduct. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to play a video. I want you to take notes down. And then we'll come back to our lesson.
Sandy and I were talking, and we want everybody in the class to go through and take a look at, on page 15. We mentioned these last week, you know. You've got Edison, and you've got Jonas Salk, Dr. Graham Bell, Alexander Graham Bell, and you get Henry Ford, and Andrew Carnegie, Napoleon Hill. These people, they did phenomenal work. When I think of the work that went into the writing of this book, the research and the preparation that went into this, it is absolutely awesome. We are operating with exactly the same potential that they're operating with. Now, I mention all the time, if you'll do exactly what I tell you, and I was thinking this morning about that when I say it, it sounds rather arrogant, and I certainly don't mean it to be that way. I'm not telling you to do that many things, but there's just certain concepts that I have proved to me that it works. And you can literally have anything you want. Now, some of you appear to have more potential than others, but the truth is rarely in the appearance of things. No one's got any more potential than somebody else. Yes, just as something so obvious, you think, come on, wake up, you know, because you can really write your own ticket. Now, down at the bottom of page 15, we point out here we're floating in an ocean of thought energy, and we really are. Everything around us is a creative energy. Everything we see, everything we touch is a creative energy. And we've got so much potential, and historically we've never utilized it. A very small percentage of the population do. Now, you know, we've got people in this class that are earning millions of dollars. And it could be very easy for somebody else to think, well, why are they in this? Because they could have billions of dollars. See, there's no end to where we can go. And if we stop growing, we stop enjoying life. The enjoyment comes in the growth. The enjoyment comes in the new awareness, a feeling that takes over inside. So we've got to keep growing. We've got to keep giving this everything we've got. Now, I have asked Scott, who is our, he's not only the director of the studio here, and a damn good one, I'll tell you. This guy, we got to put him in charge of research, history, because he's 27, and he's been studying this like I have since he was 13. He comes up and just asks him a question, he gives it to me. He's got it. So I've asked Scott each week to come up with something to take our mind back to the class, back in 1988. And because that's where the videos are. And that's, you know, quite a little while ago. 88 to 98 to 108 to 118. You know, we're going back 30-some years. Well, we go back more than 32. It's back 36 years in this with the book.
Yeah.
And it's all here. So, Scott?
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Sure.
Well, I was thinking of this last week when I watched, so I was 14 when I watched Born Rich, and that was 12 years ago, I think. And there was one piece of information in Born Rich, and every so often you come across something that Bob teaches, and you know that you wouldn't be where you were if you didn't learn it. And so this is called the comfort zone. Now, there's a difference between, this is what I was thinking this morning, there's a difference between ambition and being uncomfortable. So ambitious people are usually, they just want to go, 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 but they won't get out of the comfort zone. So this is a 2.5 minute clip, and Bob just explains the comfort zone perfectly. So let's play this, and I'll come back and then we'll talk about it.
You know, some time ago, John Canary gave me a little piece of literature about getting out of the comfort zone that was written by Bob Riggs in southern Florida. And there's some excellent information in here. Many of us are pretty comfortable in our life. We've got a reasonably good income. The mortgage is paid. There's food in the fridge. We've got a nice warm bed to sleep in. and everything seems to be floating along just fine. And you know, a person in that position could very easily think, why would I want to do anything to change this? Well, we have found that if your life is not going in one direction, it absolutely, by law, must be moving in another direction. And Riggs is talking about that here. He said many of us have established a comfort zone in our lives. We're just coasting along, taking the line of least resistance, just getting by. Now, he said this is a very common and understandable attitude. We've all worked hard to get to where we are, and it may seem a very good place to be. The problem with this is that once we stop reaching, stretching, seeking, and risking, we actually stop growing. Now, Riggs goes on to say that the comfort zone frame of mind is settling for what we are today. That may be fine today, but without continued growth, and I believe this is the key line coming up, we are now all we are ever going to be. Now, for me, that would be a fairly disturbing thought. He went on to say, if you're in a comfort zone, beware. The danger of a comfort zone is that it doesn't hurt, and it might even feel good. Many take that to mean it's a good place to be, but it's not. A comfort zone may be what is holding you back from real growth, real accomplishment, and your potentially exciting and rewarding future. Now, I've mentioned if we're not going in one direction, we must by law be going in another direction. You're either creating or you're disintegrating. Whenever we hear a person say, I like it just the way it is, we know that person is advertising their ignorance of a very basic law of life, because absolutely nothing stays the way it is.
So one of the main mistakes I made when I was a kid watching that is that I thought the comfort zone was outside. I thought that this was an outside thing. The comfort zone is an internal thing, and if you're having trouble sacrificing or getting rid of the outside world, that's what's going to kind of hold you back. So that's a clip that I've played over and over and over again, just because I know it's so important to know that if you want to step ahead, you need to kind of let go of the outside world. And what's kind of tied into the comfort zone, which is what's coming up next, is the idea that everyone around you, they want you to kind of stay where you are. They want you to be in that comfort zone, and when you try and move out, you'll get resistance from them as well. So I just want to show you another video about using potential. So Bob talks here about when a baby is growing. If a baby was just moving their arm or the little finger, this would be a problem, but people don't see it as a problem if people aren't growing mentally. So this is a really quick video to kind of sum it up back in 1988.
In a paper called The Productive Person, Goebel wrote, by nature, you and I are alike. By practice, we get wide apart. There's the difference in our results again. Now, he said the difference between the most dissimilar characters, between the real achievers and the non-achievers, for example, seems to arise not so much from nature as from habit, custom, and education. He went on to quote William James, who concluded that we use a very small part of our real potential. And James said that most people live, whether physically, intellectually, or morally, in a very restricted circle of our potential being. We make use of a very small portion of our possible consciousness and of our soul's resources in general. Much like the person who out of their entire bodily organism would get into the habit of using and moving only their little finger. I want you to think for a moment, if you had a child and that child was laying perfectly still in its crib, and the only part of its body it was ever able to move was its little finger, I'm quite certain that you would probably beg, you would borrow, and if you had to, you would steal to find out what's wrong with that child. But isn't it strange that a human being can stop growing mentally at a very early age, and it can be virtually ignored?
So that's what Bob's talking about. Someone can stop growing mentally and it can be completely ignored. But this kind of relates to the comfort zone, what we were talking about before. I was saying to Bob just the other day, when I grew up, I knew a lot of ambitious people. You know, we used to play soccer, and you know, people would play soccer as if their life depended on it, whether they were going to win or not. And what I found was the people who didn't make it were the ones who were very comfortable. They were very comfortable in their lives, and they just really liked it there. So what really needs to change again is one of the most important lessons is perception. And so as we're into chapter number 1, me and money, people have a certain perception of money that stops them from literally attracting money. So when they think about money, it's, you know, they either get a negative or a positive picture. So this is, what is this? This is a 2-minute clip of Bob just talking about your perception of money and how that can literally change what you attract and what you repel into your life. So let's watch this clip.
Now, when you think of yourself and you think of money, what kind of a picture do you get? Do you know the vast majority of people get a picture of poverty? And what we want to do is take and build cells of recognition in your brain for prosperity. So we're talking about me and money. That's you and your money. Now we say the program was written in the sincere hope that it would lead you. And that's all we could do is lead you. It's like Dr. Billy B. Sharp in Chicago. He said a person will not believe something until they discover it for themselves. So we just actually want to lead you to this new awareness. Well, we want to lead you to the many discoveries that lie within you. And we're going to do that through the repetition of prosperous ideas. What we're going to do is tell you one thing 10,000 times and 10,000 different ways. And we're going to cause pictures to fly on the screen of your mind until you get a clear picture of greatness and prosperity locked up within you, because that's what they're, regardless of whether you understand that or not at this point. Now, we're suggesting that you start to see money. Whenever you think of money, see this stuff as an obedient, diligent servant. You're the master, it's the servant. And don't ever get that equation reversed, or you're going to find yourself in very, very deep trouble. You can use this to provide service far beyond your own physical presence. If you and I had no money, we'd still be able to provide service, but the service that we provided would be confined to our physical presence at any given place or any given time. However, if we had some money, we could provide that service far beyond our own physical presence. So let's make certain that we get that programmed into those cells properly.
So what this really relates to is repetition. So when if you have a negative concept of the moment of money and you start to internalize a positive concept, you'll feel a little bit of resistance. So like Bob was saying, you know, we're going to tell you the same thing 10,000 times in 10,000 different ways. And that's why it's so important to go back and keep listening to this over and over and over again. Because one of the best ways that I personally learned of doing this, pretend that you're watching it for the first time, even when you've heard it 1,000 different times. Because that way you kind of change your perception, and then you start to pick up on little things that you've not heard before. So those are just my little tips of how to study and kind of what I've learned over the last 12 years or so. And I'll hand it over back to Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Scott, you are priceless. You really are. I learn a lot from watching you work. You know, you came here to learn from me. You know, as Scott was talking, we're going to tell you the same thing 10,000 ways. I've often mentioned people who come to a seminar that may be a 3-day, maybe 6-day seminar. And they leave and they'll say, Proctor is such a nice guy, you know. And they'll go on and on telling somebody about me, and they don't even know me. They do not know me. They think they know me because they've been listening to me talk for 3 days or 6 days, but they don't really know me at all. See, for 3 days or 6 days, I've been talking about you. I've been talking about me. If I was talking about me for a couple of days or 3 days or 6 days, you would have shut down really early. You're paying attention because I'm talking about the fascination in you. And that is a great lesson in that we want to learn. as we go through life, that's important. Talk to the people about what they're interested in. And somebody will say, well, how do you find out what they're interested in? You ask them questions. You ask them what they're interested in. Ask them what they're doing, where they're from. How long have you lived here? You know, how do you like it? But you don't just ask questions, you talk to make a noise. You listen. You ask questions and you listen. I was talking to a young friend of mine yesterday, and I said, you know, one of the most important things is you listen. Listening is very, very important. And in the video that we shot, I think I showed it to you last week, we are going to listen. People want to talk to us about something, and before they're finished, we start talking. What we're really doing is trampling on their feelings. We're saying, I don't think what you're talking about is very important, so I'm going to start talking. And we want to listen to people, really pay attention to them. Now, over at the top of page 16, we have to penetrate this world of wealth. It's absolutely essential that we begin to think. You've really got to start to think. In other words, you must open your mind to the stream of thought energy, which will create an image or a consciousness of prosperity in your mind. You've got to start to see yourself that way. Now, if you go and buy something, buy it. Buy something good. It may cost a little more. It'll usually last a little longer, and you feel so good when you put it on. I remember, oh gosh, a long time ago, we got the idea at Christmas. We had a couple of people working in the office, and we took them to a restaurant for lunch. And Linda gave them a card with a certain amount of money in it, but she didn't tell them until we got to the restaurant. It was in a mall, and there was 3 or 4 of them, and we gave them the card and told them when we sat down, now you got to go shopping, and you got to spend all the money that's in this envelope, and what you don't spend you give back. You got to spend it all. What you don't spend you give back. It's a neat little thing to do if you have somebody working with you. Well, they come back. It's really fun to watch. You see, one person bought one thing, a real good thing, and another might have bought 8 or 10 pieces of clothing. So you know that they weren't very good, but they were getting a lot. Well, you see, it's a difference in the way we think about ourselves. If you buy really good stuff for you, you don't have to buy that much, but you feel good when you put it on. You feel good about yourself. I've often mentioned to ladies in their company, they should spoil themselves. Go get your nails done. I do it myself. I go and have my nails done. I used to think it was for sissies. Well, then I become a sissy, I guess, if that's true. But I go and I'll get my nails done. You see? We want to treat ourselves well, spoil ourselves. Because what we're doing, we're altering our concept about ourselves in life. And we've got to get a real good image. We want to start to understand, what does prosperity really mean? Now come down towards the bottom of page 16. We say consciousness is and always has been developed through thinking. And regardless of what your present situation in life may be, if you ever hope to improve it and truly become wealthy, as this book suggests you can, you must begin thinking of prosperity in your mind. Not when the book is finished, not when you finish the book, not when you finish the chapter, not tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. It must be done now. I have mentioned 2 or 3 occasions over the past couple of months when I became aware of it. I have asked Phil Goldfein on a couple of occasions to do me a favor. And I don't ask him very often. He was always saying, what can I do for you, Bob? What can I do for you? Well, I don't need anything done. I got all team of people in this company that are always knocking themselves out to do something for me. You know, I'm very well taken care of. But a couple of things come up that I needed that I thought he could help me with. So I said, Phil, would you do this? Bang, like that, he did it. And I learned something from him. I watched this happen 2 or 3 times. And I was quite consciously aware of what he was doing. He didn't write it down on a piece of paper like I frequently do. I carry this, and I write it down, and then I would, when I get a break, I would do it. May not be till tomorrow. He didn't do that. He does it right then. And I thought, what a hell of a good habit. Now, if you're going to change you got to do it now. Not when this program's over. This program never finishes. It's never over. I was looking at Scott, and he was saying when he started 12 years ago, and I thought, it seems like yesterday, 12 years ago, but he was just a young kid. But I'm going to tell you, he soaked a lot of this up in his young life. You got to do it now. If you're doing it, he does it right then. I have asked Phil Goldfein on a couple of occasions to do me a favor. You see? We want to treat ourselves well, spoil ourselves. Because what we're doing, we're altering our concept about ourselves in life. And we've got to get a real good image. We want to start to understand, what does prosperity really mean? Now come down towards the bottom of page 16. We say consciousness is and always has been developed through thinking. And regardless of what your present situation in life may be, if you ever hope to improve it and truly become wealthy, as this book suggests you can, you must begin thinking of prosperity in your mind. Not when the book is finished, not when you finish the book, not when you finish the chapter, not tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. It must be done now.
All right. We went through several different areas, and I'm going to highlight those, and I want you to think about what you took out of it. You guys may be different parts of the world right now. It really doesn't matter, because we're all the same, and because we're all the same, we're going through the same thing. We don't just do this one time, we do it all the time. When Bob said that the book never finishes, life never finishes. The book of life never finishes. And it's always in a lot of times it's in a rerun, but every now and then you find somebody's book. It's something they created. I'll say that again. You'll find that life is like a book, and you'll find that many people are like a rerun. It's the same book, same pages over and over. The whole story is the same page. And every now and then you'll find people that write books. They write their life every year, year after year. You can do that. I've done it. I continue to do it. Life doesn't have to be a rerun. If it's a rerun, it's because you stopped thinking. If you were to look at life as a book, and if you were to take a book as a year of your life, how many books have you written? How many books are more or less the same year after year? Page after page, means day after day. And it's the same book. Rerun. Rerun. Not because you can't have more, not because you can't create your own story this year, because you haven't decided. Really think about that. How much of your life will be a rerun just because you haven't decided? Decisions and deciding that you're going to create your own story are not normal. And the book never ends. Life never ends. People come into life, in and out. Every second, every few seconds, somebody's coming into the world, somebody's leaving the world. Somebody's writing a book. And some people are writing multiple books. Some people write one story over and over again, and some people write novels. The mind never stops. The books never stop coming. What is your life going to be like? You're writing a book right now. You're literally writing a book. And you're doing that according to the way you think. Consciousness is always has been developed through thinking. Consciousness always has been developed through thinking. How are you living today? What do you truly want? How often do you get up and truly go after what you truly want? Where are you at today? We're going to go back to the beginning of this. We're going to go back to ambition and comfort zone. Ambitious people are normally in a hurry to do things. But when it really comes to coming out of their comfort zone, they don't go anywhere. They're always in a hurry to go somewhere, but really no definite end. And then you have the comfort zone where we just stay. It's not much different than the comfort zone. You're just in a hurry to go nowhere. If we're not continually expanding our consciousness, we're going to continue to go in the same direction. We will be all that we will ever be. We are all now that we will ever be. And most people conform and they stop growing. And he's talking about the little child. The little child were just to move the little finger because everything else hurt. You'd wonder something was wrong with that person. When did you stop growing? What age was it that you stopped stretching? And this may not be for everybody. And it's been tried and true that it's not. Because very few people are getting out of their way. And very few people are going beyond what they know how to do. Success is truly not normal. It really isn't. Success is within the 3%. Conformity is normal. If you have doubts, worries, and fears, and you let that stop you every time, if you say, oh, well, life is good enough, that's normal. What is not normal is going beyond what you know how to do. That's not normal. And why is it that people will try to stop you? Why is it that people around you want to stop you every time you're trying to go somewhere different? You want to be something different. You're changing. Why is it people don't like change? Because you're changing the way they see you. You're changing them because you're changing, and they don't like that. When somebody begins to change and act like somebody else and become somebody else and develop themselves into being something else, people don't like change. They want to see you exactly how they've been seeing you. Could be loved ones, family members, friends. Many of you you're trying to stretch, or you are stretching and you're going somewhere new. You're making them change and they don't like that. Now you're understanding why people a lot of times will want to drag you back in. Because you're leaving their group. And we land back at the book. The book never finishes. Your book never finishes. You finish when you run out of time. You finish when you're no longer here. And let's look at reality. Reality is wonderful, beautiful. It's grand. It's as big as you want it to be. But you're creating it. And whatever it is today is what you've been thinking about, what you've created, what you thought was possible or not possible for you. Everything that you thought was possible, you've had it. So you've been using this creative process. You've already executed what you know how to do. Now, it's when it's time to go beyond that the average individual stops. You don't have to do that. And you don't have to stay there. We are magnetized to everything that we see. We are magnetized to everything that's coming to us. What is it that you truly want? Really think about this. We are magnetized to everything that's coming to us. We did it. We brought it in. We're doing the things. We're learning, or we're not learning, and we're not developing. Our consciousness is always attracting something. And if it stopped attracting new things, new possibilities, new visions, new opportunities, if your consciousness has stopped attracting, if you're seeing the world where it's slowed down, and you go to the same job or the same business and you do the same things, and it's slowing down for you, you stop growing. You're slowing down on growth. What do we need to do? We've got to go out and do something completely different. We let what is presently going on in our lives control what we think. We're attracting exactly what we are. Whatever idea we are attracting that idea. And that idea is the ones that we are most emotionally involved with. This is how we go beyond. We build an image of what we truly want. How many times have we got to do this over and over and over again until you start to act like the person you want to be? Build a picture of what you want. That's the start of living the dreams that you want to live. Build a picture of what you want. I know this doesn't sound normal. That's why very few people do it. But get up and do it. Build a picture of what you truly want. See yourself in there. Who do you have to become? Who do you have to become to be that person? What areas in your life do you have to develop? Again, consciousness is either becoming something more or expressing the same. And the only way to change consciousness is you have to do it. We have the ability to think, to live life as we desire. That was the promise. The promise was the ability to think and to imagine beyond what we are. The ability to live, to experience, to live, laugh, love, breathe, smell, taste, touch, hear, and then to use our higher faculties. The higher faculties is what separates you from the animals. Perception, will, imagination, reason, memory, intuition. The 6 higher faculties is what separates you. Now, there's very few people that use all 6. Majority use one of them, memory. That's what they taught you in school. Why didn't they teach you the other 5 higher faculties in school? Because they don't even know them themselves. How is it that we can have people that are educating our whole world that don't know the higher faculties? How can we have a school education system that is thinking, but they're really not thinking? Because they weren't taught this information. The higher faculties is what separates the animals from creative forces. If we look at everything that's physical in the physical world, you're going to see that their predominant higher faculty is intuition. And they really don't go beyond that. That's why they live in nature. That's why they live in nature, and they don't change. As humans, higher consciousness in man, that's what that means. Yeah, a lot of you didn't know that either. The hue in man is that he has a higher consciousness inside of a man. He has the ability to go beyond his circumstances and conditions. He has the ability to go beyond what they see, hear, taste, touch, smell. And they develop the hardware inside of their brain by imagining. They've developed the hardware inside of their brain by imagining beyond where they're at. And by imagining beyond where they're at, they have received ideas to create their environment. You don't believe me? Look around the world. Go back 6,000 years. Let's go back 12,000 years. We see the evolution of the hue in man. And I'm not saying everybody's doing it, because they're not. Majority are just participants. Majority of the people around, those 3%, are the consumers. Really think about what I'm saying. Not everybody thinks. That's why there's very few winners. And that's why 3% earn what the 97% do. Because the 97% were programmed not to think. They're programmed to consume. They're programmed to value production. 3% are programmed to value create. It's a different world. Value creators are thinking, how can we bring value in services? How can we create things? They use their imagination and they bring down ideas for the world to see. They bring down ideas for the world to consume. They bring down ideas. Nobody stopped you. That's right. Now you're understanding. Nobody had told you you cannot think. Nobody ever said, nope, you can't do that. It's a choice. It's a choice. Now you're going to say, well, how can you ever do anything without any money? I have. I know others that have done it too. So it's not that either. What is it that's stopping you in your tracks? Now you're starting to say, wait a minute, what has stopped me? It's the mindset. This is why it's so important to study this information. Because the thing that's holding you back, and it's held me back, and it's holding millions of people around the world back, is unseen. It's a mental program in your subconscious mind, and it talks to you. That's the truth. We're the only ones that can self-regulate. We're the only ones that can tell ourselves, oh, no, that's far enough. Oh, we can't do that. Oh, you don't know how to do that. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you can't be that. Oh, you don't have the level of awareness to do that. Oh, you're not a genius. Oh, that's all you are. Who do you think you are? Well, we're the only ones that can self-talk ourselves down. Really think about what I'm saying. You're the only one that can talk yourself down. We're the only ones that can self-regulate. Nobody told y'all can't do anything. Why is this so important? Because it's your whole life. Majority of people didn't know that there's a program inside of you. And once you've reached that program, you normally don't go very further. And you normally don't think to go further than that. They didn't teach you this in school. They didn't teach you in school. Well, according to the family members that you're raised in, according to what they knew, according to that environment, you're going to be more or less subject to living that lifestyle. And every now and then, there will be somebody that will break free or go beyond that. The majority of you will grow 10, 15, 20%, maybe. Majority of you may go to school, you may not go to school. The ones that were in the habit of going to school will be the children that will go to school. And then the children that go to school, they're going into other programs. Because we created a monetary system for people to fit in. So that you can select, because the majority of people can't think of what they truly want. So then we're going to pick these ideas. They didn't teach you this in school. They develop your memory, but the memory doesn't go very much further. They didn't teach you how to gather ideas, to develop mechanisms. They didn't teach you to work things to definite ends. They didn't teach you that you were perfect. They didn't tell us, hey, if we use a creative imagination, we can create anything. Hey, if we move this, we can generate income from it. And if we start setting up our mind to do things in a certain way, we can create multiple sources of income that's working for us all at the same time. The minute you start to feel stuck, we're going to show you how to get out. The minute you feel lack and limitation, we're going to teach you how to break that. Nobody really is teaching society or children how to live the way they truly want to live. They're teaching us how to conform. Say it's not true, and I'll prove it so. The stuff that we are teaching is accurate. If we wanted to really help people, we teach them the psychology behind their mindset. If we really wanted to develop our children, we tell them that they're perfect. It's their responsibility to develop in which direction they're going to release those ideas. What is it that they truly want? The truth is, we limit ourselves. We hold ourselves back. Our self-image holds us back. When we really get a better understanding that beliefs control our behavior, we'll begin to unlock the future that we desire. When is it your time? Do you really think that you're going to go this next year and do something completely different? Do you really believe that if you keep doing the same thing that you're doing, that you're going to get a better life? Do you really believe that if you continue in the same plan that you'll be in somewhere completely new in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Where will you be? Look at the results from the past. What do they tell you? I've been stuck. I've been stuck several times. But I work towards freedom. I work towards a vision. And the vision's what's led me. Learn to set goals. Learn to put dates on them. And you're going to win. Learn to set goals and learn to put dates on them. You're going to stretch. You're going to find that there's so much more locked up inside of you. And if you continue to do that, before long, nobody will be around you. Only whoever you decide to take with you. This is the truth. And when you get really good, you're going to learn to give back. Because what you learned was that everybody has that ability. But they've got to believe in themselves. That's the first step. If you're interested in what we're doing, take a look at our classes. We help people set and achieve goals. We've helped people, a lot of business people, because we're in business. We help people redirect their businesses, how to learn how to develop their businesses, and change their business. What is that you truly want inside of it? Now, we're working on developing ourselves to really mastering multiple sources of income, and that's what we're working on now. Multiple mini companies all at the same time, and we're working towards that goal. And we don't want just one, we want them all over the world. Can we help you rearrange your business? Sure can. Can we help you learn how to step out of the business? Sure can. Majority of the people, entrepreneurs that start their first company, really don't have a business, they have a job. Because they were the sacred ingredient and they didn't know how to duplicate themselves. They're not able to find the right people. Because you weren't programmed to find the right people. They normally can't step away from the job. Question is, can you build it? Next one, can it grow? The next step in consciousness, can it work without you there? Can it grow without you there? Those are different levels of awareness, and those are different techniques. Those are different abilities that you'll have to develop. And if you don't know these principles, you are the mechanism, and you're stuck somewhere in this area of operations. Where are you at today? I know this because we work with several individuals. We do this. We've done it. Where are you at in your company, in your business model? How is it running? Or shall I say, how are you running? Where are you at in developing yourself to financial freedom? That's why you started in the first place, was to become free. But are you? It's all about awareness, becoming aware. What do you really want? Thank you guys that are viewing this and are looking at our lives. We're here to serve and serve as many people as we can. Everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a good day.